Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic: why relationships with women tend to fail for Sigma males. Now, I'm not saying this is true for all Sigma males or that all women are the same. That's just ridiculous. But there are some common threads we see in these types of relationships that can lead to problems. We're talking about those lone wolf types, the guys who march to the beat of their own drum. They're independent, self-reliant, and often operate outside the typical social structures. This can make them incredibly attractive, but it can also create some unique challenges when it comes to romantic relationships. So if you're a Sigma male who's struggling in your relationships, or if you're just curious about this personality type, stick around. We're going to break down 6 common reasons why these relationships can be so darn tricky. Let's get started.
All right, let's talk about independence. Sigma males, they cherish their freedom, man. They're not the type to be tied down easily. They need their space, their own time, to pursue their interests, to explore their own thoughts. This is crucial for them. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. It's healthy to have your own life outside of a relationship, but it can create friction if your partner isn't on the same page. If they crave constant attention, constant reassurance, it's going to be a problem. See, a lot of women, they're looking for that traditional, attentive partner, someone who's always there, always checking in, always wanting to spend time together, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with wanting that. But that kind of dynamic can feel suffocating to a Sigma male. It can feel like a threat to their independence, and that's a quick way to kill the attraction. It's like a caged animal, you know? You take away its freedom, its ability to roam and explore. It becomes miserable. It loses its spirit. That's how a Sigma male can feel in a relationship that's too restrictive. The key here is communication and understanding. Both partners need to be upfront about their needs and expectations. If you're a Sigma male, you need to communicate your need for space in a way that doesn't make your partner feel unimportant or neglected. And if you're with a Sigma male, you got to understand that his need for independence isn't a rejection of you, it's just part of who he is.
Now let's get into communication. Sigma males, they're not exactly known for their emotional expressiveness. They're not the type to beat around the bush or sugarcoat things. They say what they mean, and they mean what they say. This can be incredibly refreshing, especially in a world of passive aggressiveness and social masks. But it can also lead to misunderstandings, especially in the realm of relationships. See, a lot of women, they communicate through emotions, through subtle cues and hints. They might not always say exactly what they're thinking, but they expect you to pick up on the underlying message. And this is where things can get tricky with a Sigma male. He might miss those subtle cues. He might take your words at face value, not realizing there's a deeper meaning behind them. And this can lead to frustration, to arguments, to feeling unheard and misunderstood on both sides. It's like they're speaking different languages, you know? They're both trying to communicate, but the message gets lost in translation. And that's why it's so important to be direct, to over-communicate in these relationships. If you're a Sigma male, you gotta learn to be more aware of those emotional undercurrents. Pay attention to the non-verbal cues, ask clarifying questions, and don't be afraid to show some vulnerability. And if you're with a Sigma male, be direct with your needs. Don't expect him to read your mind, just tell him what you're thinking and feeling.
All right, let's talk about solitude. Sigma males, they need their alone time. It's like oxygen to them. It's how they recharge, how they process their thoughts and emotions. They're comfortable in their own company, and they don't need constant external validation or stimulation. Now, this can be a tough one for some partners to understand, especially if they're more extroverted or crave a lot of togetherness. They might see their partner's need for solitude as rejection, as a sign that they're not interested or invested in the relationship. But here's the thing, a Sigma male's need for solitude has nothing to do with his partner. It's not personal, it's just how he's wired. It's like an introvert who needs time alone after being around people all day. It's not that they don't enjoy socializing, it's just that it drains their energy and they need time to recharge. So if you're with a Sigma male, don't take it personally when he needs his space. Don't try to force him to be constantly engaged or to constantly participate in social activities if he's not feeling it. Let him have his man cave, his time to pursue his own interests, his time to just be alone with his thoughts. And you know what? Use that time for yourself too. Pursue your own passions, connect with your friends, enjoy your own company. A healthy relationship is about two individuals who can thrive both together and independently. Chapter 4. The non-conformist swimming against the current. Let's talk about the Sigma male's non-conformist nature. These guys, they don't play by society's rules. They're not interested in fitting in or following the crowd. They march to the beat of their own drum, and they're not afraid to challenge the status quo. Now, this independent streak can be incredibly attractive. It's refreshing to be around someone who's authentic, who's not afraid to be themselves, even if it means going against the grain. But this non-conformist attitude can also lead to friction in relationships, especially if their partner has more traditional values or expectations. See, a lot of relationships, they're built on compromise, on finding a middle ground that works for both partners. But Sigma males, they're not always wired for compromise, especially when it comes to their core values or their sense of self. They're not going to pretend to be someone they're not, or to agree with something just to keep the peace. And this can be a deal breaker for some people. They might see it as stubbornness, as a lack of willingness to meet them halfway, and that's understandable. Relationships require a certain level of flexibility and compromise to thrive. But here's the thing, Sigma male's non-conformist nature isn't about being difficult or controlling. It's about staying true to himself, even when it's not easy. It's about living a life that's authentic and meaningful to him, even if it means going against the grain.
Chapter 5. High Standards, the Price of Excellence. Let's be real. Sigma males have high standards. They hold themselves to a high standard, and they expect the same from the people around them, especially their romantic partners. This isn't about being arrogant or entitled. It's about striving for excellence in all areas of life. They're drawn to partners who are intelligent, driven, and independent. They want someone who challenges them intellectually, someone who pushes them to be their best selves. They're not interested in settling for mediocrity in relationships or in life. Now, this can be incredibly motivating for some partners. It can inspire them to grow, to step outside their comfort zone, to achieve things they never thought possible. But it can also be intimidating, even overwhelming for others. They might feel like they're constantly being judged, like they're never quite good enough. The key here is communication and understanding. A Sigma male needs to communicate his standards in a way that's constructive, not critical. He needs to be supportive and encouraging, not demanding or dismissive. And his partner needs to understand that his high standards aren't about control, they're about a shared pursuit of excellence.
Chapter 6. Emotional detachment, the armor of self-preservation. Now this one's a big one, emotional detachment. Sigma males, they can be hard to read. They're not the type to wear their hearts on their sleeves. They keep their emotions close to the chest, guarded, protected. This emotional detachment, it's not about being cold or heartless. It's a defense mechanism, a way to protect themselves from getting hurt. They've learned to be self-reliant, to not depend on others for emotional support. They've built walls around their hearts, and it takes a special person to break through those walls. Now, this can be incredibly frustrating for partners who are used to more emotional expressiveness. They might feel shut out, like they can't connect with their partner on a deeper level. They might misinterpret their partner's detachment as disinterest or a lack of love. But here's the thing. Just because a Sigma male doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve doesn't mean he doesn't have deep emotions. It just means he expresses them differently. He might show his love through actions, through acts of service, through quiet gestures of affection. The key here is patience and understanding. It takes time to earn a Sigma male's trust, to break down those walls, to reach the heart beneath the armor. But once you do, you'll find a depth of loyalty and love that's rare and incredibly special.
So there you have it. 6 reasons why relationships with women can be challenging for Sigma males. Remember, these are just general observations, and every individual is different. The key takeaway here is communication, understanding, and a willingness to meet each other halfway. Relationships require effort, compromise, and a deep respect for each other's needs and boundaries. If you're a Sigma male struggling in your relationships, don't be afraid to seek help. Talk to a therapist, read books on relationships, and most importantly, communicate openly and honestly with your partner. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. See you next time. See you next.